Hello everyone, Ace here, and today let's talk about the recently announced Earth vs. Mars, an upcoming turn-based strategy by Relic Entertainment, whose first trailer isn't exactly going down very well with gamers, as it is currently being ratioed on YouTube. But that does of course lead to the question as to why this particular game's announcement trailer is getting disliked so thoroughly. And to answer that particular question, I believe it is very important to first describe the game's premise, as well as its very obvious inspirations. As you could probably guess, Earth vs. Mars is based around a hypothetical conflict between Earthlings and Martians, very much in the vein of War of the Worlds, though if we are to get more specific, it seems to be mostly inspired by the 1950s film adaptation of the book. From a gameplay perspective though, the game is very much heavily inspired by the Advance Wars series, which is admittedly a classic turn-based strategy franchise that is well worth playing in its own right. This does, however, lead me quite cleanly to the big issue with this game, and why I believe so many people are disliking the trailer: the art style. This game is using the exact same art style that the Advance Wars remake used, and to put it bluntly, it was a bad idea there too. Simply put, this particular art style was so utterly disastrous for the Advance Wars remake that most fans of the series actively prefer the visuals of the original Advance Wars games, which is an especially scathing critique when you realize the original games were Game Boy Advance games from well over 20 years ago. It's a textbook example of just how more important art style is over graphical capabilities from a pure technical standpoint. It's absolutely surprising that Relic has decided to make this exact same mistake that Nintendo did. And it's not like 2D sprites can't work in a modern turn-based strategy. Songs of Conquest still uses 2D sprites and looks pretty appealing because of this art design decision. And to provide another example, in this case another game that is heavily inspired by the Advance Wars franchise, Warside also uses 2D sprites and also looks significantly easier on the eyes, specifically because of that artistic direction. And to be fair, the art direction appears to be the main issue with regards to Earth vs. Mars. So fortunately, there may actually be a way to salvage this particular game, convert it into a 2D sprites title. The game is still pre-alpha, and the developers likely still have a fair amount of time to work on it. This would of course require creating a whole bunch of brand new assets, and essentially rebuilding the game's visuals from the ground up. Overall though, I would argue that such a change is absolutely necessary in order for the game to actually be visually appealing. The art style that they are using right now simply does not work. It didn't work with the Advance Wars remake, and it is not going to work here either. Hopefully the reaction towards the trailer is something that the devs take to heart, and see, quite rightly so, as an opportunity to improve their game. But it is very much left to be seen as to whether or not the developers will actually do that. But in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.